Come with us and connect with nature in this week's episode of Let's Talk Tobago. This week we take you to the Naturalist Beach Resort in Castara, a place for lovers of the outdoors or those just seeking to get away. We have a packed show for you this week, so make sure you stay tuned for the next half hour. I'm Davia Chambers and this is Let's Talk Tobago. Tobago gets high-tech with its first Information and Communications Technology Summit 2017. We take you to the windward side of the island where Glamorgan residents met with the police service and later plans to revive the Tobago peppermint industry. These stories and more when Let's Talk Tobago continues. Stay with us.
As a trained tour guide, I was able to travel the world, educate my children, purchase a new vehicle, teach my children about the natural history of Tobago, and it's there I realize that there's no place like home sweet home. I'm a trained tour guide. My name is Kathy Ann Grant, and tourism is all our routine.
The Naturalist Beach Resort is tucked neatly away in the beautiful village of Castara. Sun, sea and sand and flora are what guests can expect, and they're never disappointed by the property which sits on Castara Bay. From the outdoors to the conference room, technology was the focus for both the public and private sectors, as well as industry experts. They're looking to accelerate the island's development, and discussions took place at Tobago's first ICT exposition and the summit. Here's more.
Innovation has been a driving force for economies around the world. Tobago is taking the same path towards economic sustainability. The island recently hosted its first Information and Communication Technology (ICT) exposition and summit. It connected industry experts, the private sector, and the Tobago House of Assembly for discussions aimed at transforming the island through technology.
It is the first in the Caribbean and the first in the third world. This is the first time we're doing this in the third world. It is impossible to diversify an economy without technology. And it is for this reason that I am so proud today to welcome you here to participate in phase 1 of creating an intelligent island in Tobago.
The Expo and Summit raised awareness about career opportunities in ICT, and it provided a platform to launch a number of new services through Tobago Information Technology Limited, TITL. The Assembly also invested in the construction of an innovation center.
The Tobago House of Assembly invested over $6 million to construct an innovation center. And I believe we have put in all the necessary traditional infrastructure here on the island, but now we are looking towards the future. And the Innovation Center, my dear friends, is poised to give us the competitive edge and the competitive advantage.
The Telecommunications Services of Trinidad and Tobago, TSTT, will construct an internationally certified data center on the island. This will ensure redundancy in power and data storage.
TSTT recently signed an agreement with the EIDCOT for the construction of a Tier 3 TIA 942 certified data center right here in Tobago. TIA 942 certification is a guarantee to customers that the data center offers the highest levels of reliability. Over the course of its existence, it will have virtually uninterrupted operations. Well, 99.982% uptime if you want to be a little specific.
The Information and Communication Technology Exposition and Summit ran from September 26th to 27th at the Magdalena Grand Beach and Golf Resort. I'm Kern De Freitas for Let's Talk Tobago.
The name Naturalist is really self-explanatory. It reflects our ancestors' way of living and our pride in the beauty of Tobago. It also highlights the flora and wildlife of the island. Now, this property was constructed 20 years ago by Ansel George. Now this, Tobago now has an agency that's dedicated to managing and developing state lands. A new board of directors was recently appointed. We have all the details in this next report.
There's a new State Lands Board in the Tobago House of Assembly. The board, which was appointed recently, is being led by Ronald Celestine. His deputy is Mitchison Neptune.
I have sought to bring some additional skills on board so as to provide the committee with the relevant expertise in carrying out its mandate. You may be aware that one of our priorities going forward is the whole issue of providing access to lands that the THA has under its jurisdiction for the purposes of agriculture.
Other members are Trevor Isaac, Cherise Wallace, Alvin Pascal, Lydia Peters, Keith George, Nadia Frank Job, and Horace Atchell ex officio. The board was urged to pay particular attention to the monitoring of state lands.
We have this situation where squatting is a problem. And I know the last time I spoke with the director, there was an issue of vehicles. But here again, I'm saying we have to be creative, because I'm sure if we could organize our business in such a way, perhaps even if you don't have your own vehicles, or what vehicles you have are not always working, that some kind of partnership arrangements can be made.
Chief Secretary Calvin Charles also urged the members of the board to ensure there's cooperation with the Water and Sewage Authority, WASA, and the Electricity Commission, TNTEC.
A curious phenomenon is where persons are squatting, but they are provided with both electrical and water connections. And I am at this point troubled as to how that can happen. And sometimes bona fide persons are getting difficulty to get electrical connections.
The mandate of the State Lands Board is to manage and distribute state lands. I'm Caroline Wallace for Let's Talk Tobago.
Mr. George built the Naturalist Beach Resort to provide a place for people to rest and enjoy what Tobago has to offer. It's a haven for locals and visitors alike who leave wonderful reviews, words like unique, attractive, and excellent. To ratings of a different kind now. The big talking point in the past week was the 2017 to 2018 national budget and what it means for the average consumer. Omodara Mills gets some views from both the private and public sectors. Here's what they said.
Tobago received $2.19 billion of the national budget. That's 4.34% of the country's $50.5 billion expenditure for the next fiscal year. $1.86 billion has been allocated for recurrent expenditure. $315 million is for developmental projects, and there's a further $18 million for the unemployment relief program. The Secretary of Finance and the Economy, Joel Jack, requested $4.91 billion during his budget presentation earlier this year. But with a smaller allocation, the Secretary says his job is to manage the funds to meet everyone's needs.
With the reduction in recurrent allocation to the Tobago House of Assembly, what that means is we'll have to look more closely at recurrent expenditure in this fiscal year and to look at areas where we can again suppress expenditure. It will be a bit challenging given the numbers that we have to work with, but we continue to manage and manage in a prudent manner.
The Assembly now has the go-ahead by central government to obtain loans to finance development projects. It's a provision that's welcomed by the Assembly as well as the Tobago Division of the Business Chamber.
We are also pleased that the Tobago House of Assembly would have gotten some sort of ability to borrow coming out into the fiscal year. That is something that I know a number of assemblies in the past would have clamored, and it will be interesting to see how we now deal with that scenario in terms of borrowing externally or domestically from the Tobago House of Assembly's point of view.
The Business Chamber is concerned about the increase in gas prices. This is likely to result in increased production and transportation costs between Tobago and Trinidad. It will also affect consumers. However, the Chamber is pleased that a clearer vision has been outlined for the loan guarantee program.
We wanted some sort of clarity in terms of the loan guarantee program, and we are pleased in the budget or comforted in the budget that we would have gotten the ability to put the loan at 15 years from 7 years, which we fought for a long time. So that is something that we welcome in the budget.
Following the budget, the Assembly held a 2-day meeting to plan how the funds will be used in the next fiscal year. They will also continue discussions with the different sectors aimed at stimulating sustainable economic growth in Tobago in the years to come. I'm Amadara Mills for Let's Talk Tobago.
We have to take a break, but when we return, we take you to the windward side of Tobago for the latest Trinidad and Tobago Police Service town meeting. Don't go anywhere. Let's Talk Tobago. We'll be right back. Castara was named by the island's first known inhabitants. This Amerindian word translates to falling water. The village is surrounded by many streams and waterfalls. Actually, the nearest waterfall is just a short distance from the property. Now, the residents of Glamorgan want greater security in their community. Residents raised their concerns about the improvements they'd like to see from the police at a recent town meeting. Here are the details.
The police paid a recent visit to the Windward Tobago community of Glamorgan, but it wasn't because of an emergency. The police are seeking to create closer ties with local communities. They hosted the latest installment of the Trinidad and Tobago Police Service community meeting. Residents had the opportunity to raise concerns about crime and policing in their area and offer solutions. The community says negligent parenting is a challenge in their area. They're also calling for greater police visibility.
The gathering in the block, youths, young boys and girls, and when I say youth, I mean children. And some of the activities that takes place within these blocks are not always readily acceptable. And hence the reason I state, if we can have more visibility, whereby police officers can not only drive around in their vans, but walk around.
Acting Assistant Commissioner of Police Garfield Moore, who heads the Tobago Division, says the police are active in patrolling Glamorgan. He's also urging residents to engage either youth in a positive way.
We have community police in Roxborough. And they are officers responsible for the Roxborough Police District. And we are expecting not only the community police, but all police are community police officers, but I know there are some officers that are within a unit. We all have the responsibility when we are passing through Glamorgan or Goodwood or Pembroke. When we see people, we stop and interact with them.
The Police Services Town Meeting series also allowed residents to give feedback on several issues, including interaction between officers and the public.
We have a situation where the only time young people interact with police officers in uniform is when it's a negative interaction. So that is an opportunity for officers who are in uniform to probably just stop in at a meeting and come and say hello and interact in a positive, non-judgmental way so that that relationship is built with an officer in uniform.
This is the 9th town meeting held in Tobago in the past 8 months. The officers are hoping their collaboration with the public will make their policing efforts more effective. I'm Marlon Gotzelben for Let's Talk Tobago.
The Naturalist offers a range of activities to give you nothing but good memories on your vacation. Guests have the options of snorkeling, hiking the nature trails, visiting the waterfall, and more. So I have a question for you right now. If you had a chance to improve healthcare in your district, what would you do? Well, residents of Cana and Bonaccord came out with their suggestions for improvements they want to see at the community's health center. More details in this report.
Services for special children, better waiting room accommodation for visitors, and counseling for young mothers. These are just a few of the improvements residents of Canaan Bonaccord want to see at the Canaan Health Centre. They had their say on healthcare in their area during the third installment of the Community Health Meeting Series in Tobago. The sessions are being hosted by the Division of Health, Wellness and Family Development and the Tobago Regional Health Authority. They are a forum for relaying information to the public on changes coming to the health sector. The residents also had the opportunity to contribute to improved healthcare services in their community.
I'm a parent of a special child, right? And I don't know what could be done. And like if you go to clinic, they say your clinic is like around 10 o'clock, and you're there, for instance, 9 o'clock with a special child, with other children. I don't know if there are a way that they could recognize these children as a special child, coming to a clinic and pay more attention.
We will really urge our practitioners in the clinic to look at that, to look at how such a situation can be alleviated.
Other residents called for adequate seating outside the health centre.
Yesterday, I was there at the health center, the Canaan Health Center, and I myself noted that there was only one small bench on the outside. So that is a concern which we will take seriously.
Another burning issue is parenting skills for the community's young mothers.
The mothers are younger now and children. And I find sometimes, not presently, but recently, even though they love their children and they dress them properly, sometimes they're not as kind and as loving, and sometimes they're more angry. I've seen it many times before. And I always wonder if the health center do have some counseling to give young mothers.
We have now placed in the health centers community social workers. If you're not seeing them yet, I will find out why you aren't seeing them as yet. But you should have a community social worker positioned in your health center to provide support to all the persons coming forward, the resident there, including young mothers who may need counseling.
The previous two sessions were held at Roxborough and Charlottesville. The vision for Tobago is to make the island a preferred destination for healthcare delivery. I'm Caroline Wallace for Let's Talk Tobago.
The Naturalist Beach Resort has received TripAdvisor's Certificate of Excellence for 5 consecutive years. But that's not the best part of the experience. Their packages are convenient and include car rentals, ground travel, discounts and other incentives. Now this next story is also about nature. The hunting season is officially open. But before pursuing wild game in the forest, you need to ensure you're not breaking the law. Omadara Mills explains.
The hunting season starts on October 1st and runs until February 28th next year. So for people interested in hunting wild animals, it means that you'll have to acquire what's called a state game license for $100. Of course, there are specific wild game you're allowed to hunt with each license.
Each category means that there are different wildlife that you would like to hunt. You have a guti, you have a lizard, which is the iguana family, you have tattoo, quenk, wildfowl, or cage birds. But out of these categories, only entitled to buy 3 permits.
This measure helps prevent the overhunting of wild animals. Game wardens are urging people to hunt with environmental preservation in mind.
There are great demands on wildlife out there. People are not hunting anymore just for eating purposes. It's a sort of greed because they hunt commercially. We have to sensitize the hunters as to sensible hunting and to hunt with discretion, because soon and very soon our children will know certain species of wildlife due to indiscriminate hunting.
Hunters who are not able to show their license to a game warden while hunting can be fined $200 and or face imprisonment for 3 months. The licenses are for use on state lands, including the rainforest. However, night hunting or the use of artificial light is not permitted in this area.
The way the rainforest is concerned, it should be preserved in such a way that the nocturnal animals have the right to live with ease, because the brightness of the light obscures the view and they have been easily captured.
Applications for licenses can be made at the revenue collecting offices in Scarborough or Roxborough. For more information on acquiring a state game license, you can contact the THA's Division of Food Production, Forestry and Fisheries at 639-2273. I'm Amadara Mills for Let's Talk Tobago.
Coming up next, we've got details on Tobago's peppermint industry. Stay with us. Let's Talk Tobago. We'll be right back. The Naturalist Beach Resort sleeps a maximum of 35 people. The property has 5 basic rooms at affordable prices. And if you're planning a wedding, group retreat or other social event, the resort is a great location. Do you remember Tobago Peppermint? It's a local sweet that was once sold across the island, and it's about to make a comeback. To find out how, have a look at this next story.
You know Bene Ball, nut cake, fudge, and preserved fruits, as they are some of the most common Tobago sweets that are sold commercially. Years ago, the Tobago peppermint was also on that list.
We have to have rainwater, must be rainwater. And we have to have like a peppermint stone. The stone must be marble stone. But she did not have a marble stone. She had a river stone, you know. But with the river stone, it's more hard to operate because you have to wet that stone. But with the marble stone, it's much easier. You oil the stone, so you get a better finish with the peppermint. And she showed me put the nail up on the wood, and she directed me when the peppermint come in, when the sugar boil to the pitch, you get a smell, and it have a color. If it doesn't have that color and you pour it out before time, it would eventually crystallize.
The Kendall Farm School is attempting to resuscitate the peppermint industry by making sure the skill is transferred. The school hosted a workshop for youth apprenticeship in agriculture YAPA students and the wider public.
It's largely a practical session. What is happening is that the craft, as I said, is a Tobago mint, and for those who probably don't know, that was a typical mint about 4 to 5 inches long. It usually formed a part of our invisible trade with the vendors at the airport and the seaport. The last person that made it for commercial distribution passed on. And so nobody is doing it now as a commercial product.
The hope is that the Tobago peppermint will once again be in demand with locals and visitors alike.
I would definitely want to gain a little bit more practice as to how to do it. I know there is definitely an industry for peppermint, so I would really hope that as time goes along, I can contribute to that industry.
Additionally, the school documented the measurements to produce Tobago peppermint so that this information can be readily transferred to others. I am Caroline Wallace for Let's Talk Tobago.
There's something about the village of Castara that invites you to just relax and let the stresses of life around you melt away. It's a sentiment many guests have echoed after staying here. Now, relaxation doesn't mean becoming inactive. In fact, several Tobagonians recently participated in a program that's expected to get residents up and moving. Omadara Mills brings us this story.
Walk, jog, stroll, play, dance, jump. Just get moving. Regular physical activity helps to boost your health and overall well-being. Institutions like the Association for International Sport for All, TAFISA, say physical inactivity has become a growing global epidemic. It's more common than HIV/AIDS, traffic accidents, tuberculosis, or lung disease. That's why educating people on the importance of physical activity is a key part of creating a more active island. It's the inspiration behind a certified sport leadership course spearheaded by TAFISA. More than 20 people learned how to manage Sport for All programs that will encourage Tobagonians to get active. TAFISA was officially founded in 1991. Its purpose is to encourage people to be physically active despite their place of work, job, age, gender, physical ability, or where they live.
This is not only a Tafisa issue, this is an issue for world health. And we need to be able to, we need now to take this kind of promotion much more seriously. And so we should initiate programs which gets the practice and the behavior and the attitude to physical activity begun as early as the child is 2 or 3.
The seminar was based on Tafisa's Take Back Your Streets, Take Back Your Future program. One aspect provides education and training and raises awareness of the importance of fostering physical activity. The other involves ways of inspiring the public to use open spaces, like recreational grounds, to incorporate physical activity into their daily lives.
We have the UTT students here and a number of various interests in whom we hope to motivate to lead programs in their communities and around their own institutions to promote that there's a daily need for some form of physical exercise.
The value of the seminar has also been recognized by its participants, and many already have plans of how they will use what they've learned.
I would definitely like to be involved at an intimate level with this program because, as you said a while ago, for the inclusion of persons with disabilities, and so I would like to to network with the other stakeholders so that we could ultimately achieve our goal of Tobago becoming an active island.
The THA's Division of Youth Affairs and Sport and the First Citizens Sports Foundation facilitated the workshop. It's expected that participants will come together after the course and come up with programs that can get more Tobagonians moving more often. I'm Amadara Mills for Let's Talk Tobago.
And it's now time to have Your Say, the segment of our program where we hear what you, the viewers, have to say. Today, we are asking, what is your favorite annual event in Tobago and why? While you think about it, we'll have a look at who had their say this week.
Favorite annual event in Tobago, it would be Christmas.
Why?
Because we have our own style and local flavor in doing Christmas right.
Tobago Heritage Festival for many reasons. I like it because it showcased our way of life, our traditions in Tobago, of course.
Blue food, of course, because that gives me a chance to meet a lot of people, to showcase my products, because I do a lot of jams, jellies, local wine. I also do a coconut oil rub.
Heritage Festival, where I play a key role in Tobago as, a performer, as a dancer and all these things in the Heritage Festival.
I like the old time and the culture. It did more with African culture, the dance, the drum. I like those.
Blue Food Festival, for sure. That's my favorite event. Because I generally like dashing on a whole. So, and it's very interesting to see all the vendors taking the dasheen that we just boil and eat and, use it in some very creative ways, and it's really exciting. I love it every year.
We close yet another edition of Let's Talk Tobago, and as always, we thank you for watching. Please email us with your comments or queries about the program, and be sure to visit our website, like us on Facebook, and subscribe to our YouTube channel. From our house to yours, I'm Davia Chambers, along with the Department of Information, Office of the Chief Secretary, Tobago House of Assembly, wishing you a safe and very productive week. We close now with a montage of Scotiabank's Breast Cancer Walk.